Hey besties, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Zora and I make movie and TV show commentary videos every single Saturday. Usually, last week I didn't upload because I have just moved, so you will no longer be seeing those blue walls for the time being, but it's okay. I'm gonna start getting back into making content as I get more adjusted to my area. Last upload was about the pilot episode of The Vampire Diaries, and today I'll be talking about Selah and the Spades, aka the movie no one's talking about, but everyone definitely should. So let's get into the video. I'm sorry if my lighting keeps changing. I'm filming in natural light because I don't have my filming equipment with me, so just bear with me. This video might be a little rough, but you know, I'm still trying to get this out to y'all. So Selah and the Spades came out in 2020 and it's like a teen drama coming of age type movie, and it stars Lovey Simone and Jerome Jerome from he was in When They See Us in Moonlight and she was in Greenleaf, and I really love this movie. I saw it when a little bit after it first came out on Amazon Prime because Amanda on YouTube talked about it, and I was like, I really need to see it because this is one of the very rare movies that are centered around teenagers that stars a dark-skinned lead. So I was like, okay, I have to see it, and it is so good and I want more people to see it. So hopefully if you haven't seen it, my video will make you want to see it because it's so good and I need more people to watch it. Selah and the Spades takes place in this sort of like private school or like boarding school type thing, and at this school there are like 5 factions, like 5 cliques that literally run the school. Like the principal, who is played by Jesse Williams, is so like oblivious and out of the loop. It really just has a school being run by teenagers. So Selah's clique, she runs the Spades, and the Spades kind of like supply like all like the party stuff, so like the drugs, the drinks, and all that. So really the Spades are what we're focused on the most, but we're also getting a little information about the Bobbies. The Bobbies are like the theater kids, like that's pretty much who they are. They host the illegal parties, and that's their sort of like realm of expertise. The C faction, they are the ones that help everyone cheat. Like they're like the smart kids. The Skins do gambling with sports. Prefects keep all the staff in check. Like they really just run the school, and they be meeting in like the forest outside of this school. It's gorgeous, but like why I don't understand why that's their meeting place, but I mean it's off of school property, so I guess that makes sense. So the movie starts, and essentially Selah's problem is that she needs to find an heir to the Spades because she's a senior and she doesn't have anyone lined up to take her place when she graduates. In Selah, she has this best friend named Maxie, played by Jerome. And Maxie's like her right-hand man. Like he's the not the brains behind the operation, but he does like the paperwork stuff. Like he holds on to the ledger, and the ledger is basically the drugs that they have, the people that owe them money, who they owe drugs, like all that stuff. It's all their important like paperwork, and if anyone gets that, it's gonna be like everyone's gonna be out of luck, which we will kind of see happen. In the beginning, they're in the woods meeting, right? And there's a little conflict between Bobby, the leader of the Bobbies, and Selah, because you know Selah's really the HBIC, like no one has her power, and Bobby really just wants to be her. Bobby could literally never be her. Well, of course, there's a new girl at school, and the new girl at school is Paloma. And guys, I really don't think I'm tripping when I say this, but she looks like China Anne McClain. Like she looks like a lost McClain sister. It's almost a little jarring because she's not a McClain, but she looks like it. Like you're not gonna be able to like convince me otherwise. She looks like a lost McClain sister. This new girl, apparently she's on scholarship, and so you know the principal, I don't even know the principal's name. I just know he's played by Jesse L. Williams. So you know he's trying to get her clued into the school, but you know he don't even know what he's talking about because he has no idea what's going on in his own school building. Is anyone surprised? No. And it cuts to this scene where Selah is talking to her mom on the phone, and you know it's very like clear from this conversation just over the phone, like we don't even get to see them interact until a little bit later, that like they have a very like strained relationship, because Selah was talking about the grades she got on this test. She was like, oh, I got a 93, and her mom was like, what happened to the other 7 points? Like not the mom being a perfectionist and taking it out on her kid. And, you know, we will see it get worse later on. And I love these little elements they add to Selah's character, because for this to only be a standalone movie for now, because I'll get into that when I get to my general thoughts, for this to only be the first body of work and for Selah to be this developed and have this much layers to her is so cool. And I love that so much. Like, I really like Selah's character, but she's a little, you know, off her rocker, which we will see later on. So Paloma, she's about to be working on the school newspaper, and so she's taking pictures of Selah and the other cheerleaders, because Selah is also like the head cheerleader. And Selah gives this like incredible monologue talking about teenage girls and being 17 and how society treats you when you're a teenage girl. And one of the things she says, bro, is she says they always try to break you down when you're 17. And I love monologues about how people actually treat teenage girls in society. It's so good. Amazon Prime's The Wilds did this too. Like, oh my gosh, I love that scene. And this movie is very much like artsy fartsy, but it's not like too artsy where you're like, this doesn't even like feel like a high school like sort of environment, but it's just like really good. And I love the way this like whole scene was shot. So after this happens, you know, it goes to a scene where Selah and Maxie are like tracking this dude down. And this is where we really get to see how Selah is like the main person for the spades. Like, Maxie really does like her dirty work, you know, like the more like heavy lifting type stuff. And Selah really is just like the person behind it. Like, she's in charge, don't get me wrong, but you know, she doesn't get her hands dirty like other people do. So the way that we see Paloma and Selah start like actually building like kind of a friendship, but more of Selah like using her, is that she has Paloma like spy on Bobby and this other dude in another faction. He's irrelevant, but she just needs evidence that you know, Bobby is out there helping somebody cheat. When Selah is hanging out with Paloma, we really get to see that she's on her own island. And I really like the scene where they're sitting next to each other, Paloma and Selah, and they're like sharing music. And when one puts on the headphones, it's like very much like surround sound, and like we're the ones with the headphones in, but when they take them off, you can really feel that the music is passing. And so that's really good. And that's one thing I really like about it, because I like how movies use sound a lot of the time, and when it's done really well, I really appreciate it. And Selah starts bringing Paloma into her world because she's kind of eyeing Paloma as the heir to the spades. And apparently Selah and Maxie never dated, like they never like did anything together, and they've been friends for a long time. Personally, if I was Selah, I definitely would have tried to get at Maxie a long time before, but you know, that's just me, because yeah. So when Selah's talking about the fact that she doesn't date, and she's like, oh, I don't do that, like why would I do something and like talk to people that will make me cry? Like, why do girls do that? Like, just why do you do things that make you cry? And I was like, Selah might be onto something. Selah is actually like really smart for all that. But it cuts to like the senior prank sort of thing, and that's kind of what they were debating in the beginning of the movie to begin with. And what they do is they put water in cups on the stairs, and I wish we got to do a senior prank. We didn't get to do senior anything. We had one semester of senior year. You know what, this is completely off topic. I'm still mad about it. Get over it. I don't care. I'll never be over the fact that I didn't get a whole senior year, freshman year of college, or graduation. You know what? I have to move on, because this has nothing to do with the movie, and I have to move past this. So then Selah lets Paloma know that she is actually intending to make her the heir to the spades, and she's basically gonna be leading the spades once Selah is gone. And so along with like the ledger thing and Maxie being in charge of the ledger, there's this place called Fishtown, and I think Fishtown is basically where they get their drugs and stuff. And basically, you should never go into Fishtown alone. Fishtown is very dangerous. And so that's gonna come back full circle later on in the movie. So just keep that in mind. Do not go into Fishtown alone. So basically, Selah finds out that there's a rat in the spades. Like, someone is leaking information, someone's being messy, someone's being sloppy, and someone's like about to get caught. And so Selah's kind of on her toes trying to figure out who it is. And of course, because you know this is a teen movie, there is the obligatory party scene. But what I really like about the party scene in this movie is that they have like old-timey music going on. So it's like, you know, the environment of like a normal current party, but like the music that's kind of like surrounding it. It's not the music being played at the party, but like the music scoring the scene is like old-timey music, so it gives like a little, not like an eerie feeling, but it's more like, it's more dynamic to me, I guess. I don't know. I also really like old-timey music, so I think it's like cute that it's in here. And we find out, just like kind of by observation, that Selah does not partake in any of the drugs that the Spades sells. Like, she's always like completely sober. You know, good things never last. Campus security starts coming up, and you know, they cleaned up so fast. Like, everything was gone by the time the principal got there, except there was one empty bottle left, and it had the Spade logo on it. Why they would have logos on their stuff, I will never understand. But you know, people are slipping up. It's starting to get a little dangerous out here. And so there's a scene where Selah goes home, and like, Selah got a nice house. Selah got money. I mean, I should have known that Selah had money because, you know, it's like boarding school, private school, something like that. So like, I shouldn't be surprised, but like, that's a nice house. And we actually get to meet her mom for the first time, and we really get to see like the relationship they have. Like, it's a very like strained and very tense. And there's this school that her mom wants her to go to called Redwood, but Selah really doesn't want to go. And so Selah's mom starts telling her, you know, this metaphorical story to, I don't even know really what the point of it was. Maybe it kind of went over my head, but what her mom wants to do is like, quote unquote, save her from herself. And I really want to know what she means by that. Like, what about Selah do you want to save her from? Like, I get that this isn't even a good relationship, but like, what are you trying to save her from herself? Like, what is it about her that's like dangerous? And then there's another like little cheering scene. It's not like impactful on the plot really, but I just think it's really nice. I love cheering scenes. I love little sports scenes. I mean, I like sports scenes. Like, I love a good football scene. I talked about that in my Justice League video, and I just love well done sportsy things. And I like cheer, so I like how that's incorporated in this movie. And I love their uniforms too. They look so good. But what did I say? Good things never last, because Maxie's been messing up orders, because there was an order the Bobbies had made, and apparently Maxie had messed it up. And you know, Selah's trying to cover for him and be like, oh no, Maxie wouldn't make like a careless mistake like that. But apparently he did, because he'd been messing with this new girl named Nuri. Nuri isn't like impactful on the story herself, but like, she is like distracting Maxie, and so he's been slipping up recently. And it turns out that the prefects might be in cahoots with the Bobbies, but you know, the other factions are kind of more loyal to Selah. So if anything were to happen between the Spades and the Bobbies, most people would support the Spades. And throughout this movie, they keep talking about what happened to Tila. And we don't know what happened to Tila, so it's kind of like another, like, not like necessarily a mystery element, but it's kind of a thing looming over the character's head, and especially Selah's, because it's kind of like, it's alluded to being a really bad thing that Selah did to this girl. It turns out that Maxie don't even have the ledger on him anymore, so he's like, Maxie, love Maxie, love Jerome, but he's slipping up. He's making careless mistakes. He don't even have the ledger on him, and that's so dangerous. So, you know, Selah's kind of on edge now, because, okay, now she knows that it's kind of Maxie who's been messing things up for her, and he doesn't even have the ledger on him. And she like snaps at Paloma when Paloma's talking about prom and stuff, and you know, just like normal teenage stuff. And she's like, I have bigger problems. I have the whole da-da-da-da-da on my back. And it's like, bro, she's just talking about prom. Like, I'm gonna need you to take a few steps back, breathe a little bit. We're still in high school. You are not like actually the head of a dynasty. We can calm down just a little bit. And so while Selah is going off on Paloma, she basically says, you already see I'm stressed out, so why are you trying to add to my stress? And when Paloma basically puts it together that Maxie's the one who's been messing up, she essentially calls him out and then parrots the same line that Selah says, and is like, Selah's already stressed out. There's no need to add to her stress. And it's very interesting that Paloma is really starting to like take on Selah's characteristics and kind of wants to push Maxie out a little bit. And Maxie's a little threatened, and Paloma's a little threatened, and like they're threatened by each other. It's so weird. This little debate is a little weird, and they're kind of like, the undertones of it is that they're kind of like jealous of where Selah puts her attention. And then there's this little weird scene where Selah's in the mirror, like practicing her smile. I need to know more about Selah's backstory, because she's literally in the mirror having like a Joker moment, like practicing her smile. It's so weird. It's so weird. I want to know so much more about Selah. Like I said before, how there's a little bit of, I think Paloma's a little jealous of Maxi, and I'm either convinced that Paloma is in love with Selah or she just wants to beat her really bad. But I think it's the first version, not gonna lie. But she's like looking at Selah's pictures, and there's a picture of Selah and Maxi, and she like puts her thumb over Maxi's face. It's really weird. It's not like weird, but it's like unsettling. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a horror movie or it has like thriller elements, but it's just like a little like, oh, like we don't know what's going on here, what like everyone's motives are, which I think is very interesting. So then, you know, now it's kind of just Paloma and Selah because, you know, Maxi's a little distracted, and they like start interrogating this dude, and it turns out that Maxi let someone like get hands on the ledger. Like, he was being careless, and now the ledger has fallen into the hands of other people. And so Selah is like so mad because, like, you know, she's been giving Maxi a lot of leeway because, you know, that's like her best friend. And so, you know, she's not like trying to jump at him and try to be like, oh yeah, you're the one who's like messing it up for everyone. But now she's like, okay, now I'm mad because you let our most important possession get in the hands of people who kind of are out to get us. And Paloma is kind of tripping because Selah wants Paloma to do her dirty work now, and she giving this speech talking about fear me and all this stuff, and trying to say you need to get your hands dirty for the sake of our friendship. Now Paloma gotta get her hands dirty and handle it. And oh my goodness, like Selah really runs it. Like, it's actually crazy how much power she has. And you remember before when I was like, don't go into Fishtown alone. Like, that is the #1 rule. Do not go into Fishtown alone. Selah sends Maxi into Fishtown alone. What do we think is gonna happen in Fishtown, guys? I'll wait. Maxi comes back bloodied. Dude is black and blue. Like, he gets messed up out there. Like, he looks bad. He really does look bad. And so Maxi does not look good right now, but he decides now is the time. He wants to start trying to read Selah, like try to call her jealous over the fact that, you know, she's not the most important person in his life anymore, or that like there is someone who could possibly be smarter than her or prettier than her, or some dumb stuff like that. First of all, are we talking about the same Selah? Selah does not care like how you think she does. Like, if anything, I think you're the one who would be jealous if Selah was messing with somebody. And now he want to start bringing in Tila, and I just want to know what happened to Tila. Like, I've already seen this movie, but it's been a while, so I'm trying to remember what happened, because what did they do to old girl for this to be like hanging over their heads that badly? Like, they're not in threat of being in trouble, but like, you know, everyone knows what happened to Tila. But I want to know what happened to Tila. You know, Max tries to do this, like, not gonna lie, kind of pathetic read expose on Selah, but you know, it doesn't work, and so Selah essentially like kicks him out of the spades. And after this is when we actually get to see Selah break down. Like, she starts crying on the stairs, and this is like one of the most like emotional moments we see of Selah, because Selah does not be showing her emotions like that. She does not like invest in that. That is not helpful for her organization. And to see her actually cry and like the weight of all of this have an effect on her is like really sad. And there's this little like, it's not necessarily a montage scene, but it's kind of talking more about the factions. And I love the use of green in this movie. Selah's sitting in this wicker chair out in the forest with like all the greenery behind her, and she's wearing her cheer uniform, which has green in it, and it looks so good. This movie is beautifully shot. But you know, because all the shenanigans going on now, the principal actually kind of has to do his job, and so he decides to cancel prom. I know what that's like. I feel for them, but you know, they get together and figure something out, and it's actually Paloma that suggests them making their own prom, because you know, Bobby's getting all big and bold, trying to be the new HBIC, trying to run something, but you know, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work when Selah's around. Like Bobby has nothing on Selah. It's so funny. So there's this little scene where I think they're trying to set up the prom, and Paloma's kind of running errands for the spades, and she's talking to Bobby, and Bobby finally explains who is Tila and what happened to Tila. And so essentially what had happened was that Tila was originally a Bobby, but she ended up switching factions over to be a spade. And so Tila was originally supposed to be the next leader of the spades, but she got a little too big for her britches. So what had happened was officially that Tila was high on acid and ran into a pole on school property and she got expelled. But we know who controls the drugs at the school, and so we know who gave her the drugs. And you know, Selah ended up drugging her and she drove into a pole. Tila's not dead though, but you know, the damage has been done. So Paloma tells Selah that she knows about Tila and you know that Bobby had told her. And so now I think Selah's a little concerned that Bobby's trying to poach Paloma from the spades to get back about Tila, but you know, I don't think Paloma's really gonna go for that if it does happen. But during this little conversation, Paloma's talking about how she kind of wants to like forge a new path for the spades. Like she doesn't want to rule exactly like Selah, and so Selah is a little, she's starting to feel like this is another Tila moment. And so what does she do? She kind of handles it. Oh, she handles it. It's pretty bad. Oh no. She really does her like Tila, not gonna lie. So they're at their little prom scene, their like makeshift prom. And I love the color grading in this scene. It's like blue and purple. It looks so good on them. Oh my goodness. I love the way this movie is shot. It's so good. But Selah does Paloma like she's Tila, and she gives her too much drugs. So Paloma's a little gone. And bro, Selah is so messed up. She goes to Maxie and she's like, so I gave Paloma some drugs and I just want to know how much is too much, because like she's a little high right now. And Maxie's like, well, how much did she have? And she was like, well, like 1/2 something. And Maxie's like, oh yeah, that's fine, like she'll be okay. And then Selah's like, but how much would be really bad? And Maxie's like, girl, what did you do? What did you do? Like, what do you mean how much is too much? And so Paloma is gone. And I'm pretty sure she almost like gets really injured. Like I think she almost trips on something, but Maxie and Selah like take care of her. And then Paloma like finds out that she drugged her. Oh my gosh, it's so messy. But I think they're like, I think she forgave her pretty quickly, but granted she was high. So, you know, the movie ends with them like leaving the party, trying to get Paloma out of there. And we see like Paloma and Maxie together, and Selah's like looking off from like, she's kind of on like higher ground, and she like walks away, and it really gives the aura of heavy is the head that wears a crown. Like that's really like Selah's arc, and it's crazy. Like the way that this was all done is just, I'm just out of words. But that is the end of Selah and the Spades. That is the entire plot. So what are my general thoughts about Selah and the Spades? I really love this movie. Like, if you couldn't tell, I really do love this movie. I love coming of age movies. It's one of my favorite genres. And I'm so glad to see a movie being led by a dark-skinned Black woman. And Selah's braids throughout this movie looked so good. And they actually took the time out to like actually style them. And you know, she was actually sleeping with a bonnet. Like, you know, that always used to make me mad when shows would have Black characters and they would never be realistic. Like they would never be sleeping with like a bonnet or a scarf on. And it just feels very authentic. And Selah's braids looked incredible. Like they were long too. Oh, they were so cute. Like if I could get long braids, I would do that. Like Selah really did something with that. I love the casting. I think Lovie Simone is incredible. I want to see her do more stuff. Like I know she was just in The Craft, and I know she was in Greenleaf, but I want to see her in more stuff. And I hope that the series that they're trying to develop from this movie actually does get developed, because I would love to see more and see more of this world and see more of these actors, because I love Lovey and I love Jerome. So I would love to see more of them. And the actress who played Paloma was really good too. This movie is gorgeous to look at. All of the shots are so beautiful. It really gives off kind of like artsy coming of age movie without it being too much. And it just looks stunning. I really love how developed this world is. Like, you could tell that they've been living and breathing in this world for a long time, even if this is the only version of it that we've seen. Like, we've only seen the movie's length of this world, but it feels so lived in. So I really hope they continue it with a series or more movies, but I think it will work really well as like a mini series or even just like a regular show. I would love it, and I think a lot of people would like it. I don't know why more people haven't seen it. I'm assuming because it's on Amazon Prime, and that's not a streaming service that is one of the more popular ones. I think the way this coming of age movie is done is really unique because not only does it have Black leads, but it has them being drug dealers, but it's not like the main, you know how a lot of Black people are depicted as drug dealers in media. It's not like that at all. It's just like the high school dynamics. Like, it doesn't have the thug connotation added to it. And so I think that's a really refreshing take, because we've seen shows about like Black people being drug dealers, and there's nothing wrong with those shows, but this new take is just so refreshing and I love it so much. And I'm gonna rewatch this movie so many more times. Like, I can't stop gushing about how much I love it. So those are my thoughts on Selah and the Spades. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the movie, as well as any suggestions for future movies or TV shows you would like me to react to and give my commentary on. Subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss a single upload, and I'll see you in the next one.